Hey guys, welcome back to our interview. This is part two, and yeah, we're going to pick up where we left off. So, Felicity Hunter, here's my next question for you. Were there any projects at Keene State College that you were most proud of, or maybe that you just enjoyed working on the most?
I'd say definitely the capstone. I mean, it was like the longest film that I had have ever made, and it was so fun and grueling, and so much went into it. Like nothing that I made at college was equivalent to that. But I would say anything that I made in one of the production courses, like production 2 or 3, I think production 3 with Taylor done. That those were so fun because that was where me, Chloe, and Cass finally got to like do a bunch of like not throwaway projects, but they were just like we get to like have fun and like just put our own aesthetics and creative dabble. And we got to work with a lot of cool people in that one as well. Kate, were you in that class with us?
Collaborative film?
Was it collaborative film with Taylor?
Yes, that one.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Okay, it was collaborative film. That one was really fun, yeah, because we got to like change around with partners and try different things with new people. You were in
I
there.
think I was in that.
You were in that class. That's why I'm talking about.
Yes, you were definitely in that class.
Yeah. It was us, Cass and Chloe, and Jess, Van,
Yep,
Anthony,
Van
Anthony,
was in there.
Ryan.
Anthony, Jess,
Yep,
Nick.
Ryan.
Max.
Um, those two girls. And yeah, I just thought it was nice. We got to like bounce around different groups and work with people we were, like not forced, but kind of to work with different people. And I felt like it brought different projects out of us, got us to work with different people that we didn't usually work with, which gave us some new skills, different ideas, different prompts. I think the prompts were really fun to work with, like the Plan 9. Yeah, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Yeah, when we got to redo that script, like a scene from that script, I thought that that one was really fun. We did like a Mean Girls version of it. It didn't come out that great, but the the making of it and the aesthetic of it was really fun to craft. But yeah, I would say those. And then like my first film that I made at school was a documentary about my mom, and that was really fun. But it was so long. Like I came a long way through the years. Like when I look at that and then see Blood Ties, I'm like, yeah, that's a big jump. Way better at the end there than what I started with.
Yeah, definitely Blood Ties is the one that I'm most proud of. Yeah, I don't know. I think it just gave us like a hard look at like a glimpse into like what, our future careers are gonna look like and just gave us a little taste for that. And yeah, I'm just very proud of that. I low-key wish that at Keene State we did like a capstone on like a smaller level every year because I feel like if we had that opportunity, it it would have just gotten us into like the mindset of a bigger project like that and just like how much work it takes and like what actually needs to go into it a bit more. But yeah, definitely the most proud of that one.
And just to add to that, I do think that in terms of projects that we had the most fun of, I remember working with Hunter on the collaborative film project, the big one where you agreed to be an actor in our film, which thank you for that. And what I remember was us driving out near the woods, near the road, and we had to wrap ourselves in plastic because we were supposed to be, abducted by a shapeshifter who kidnapped people. And all I remember was how cold it was that day and how the plastic kept us kind of warm when we were wrapped in it. That part was funny.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to move. I'm so warm in this plastic bag.
Did we all work on that like um briefcase like one out in the near that lake or
Yes, yes,
whatever?
I remember that project. That was our one-shot project where it was where we had to it was a briefcase that we had to exchange, and Anthony was the one who delivered it over, and it started with a close-up on his watch when we zoomed out, and then we would follow up the hill and then drive away. And
Yeah.
I remember that one of us was in the car in the back seat because we had the window open and we had to pass the camera through just because that was the only way that we could see him as we drove away. Yeah, I remember having a good experience on that one. And I
Yeah,
think
that one was tricky.
yeah, I think that was me, you guys, I think it was also Ryan and Anthony,
Mhm.
and I think Nick as well, and Cassidy maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought we all like kind of worked on that one. It was definitely like one that we had to like keep redoing. It was a tough shot, but it definitely made us learn a lot, I think. That was a fun one. Yeah, I remember that.
And I remember that park being one of my favorite places to film at just ever because that was such a beautiful place to be at in general.
It is so pretty. It was definitely a nice one. I forget who brought it up, but it was a good place.
I would bring their people there for like single portraits and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the name of the place was Robin Hood Park. For anyone who's visiting Keene, highly recommend visiting there. It's a really pretty place, especially during this time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah, but yeah, so for my next question is, so this relates back to your capstone project. So this is a question that I think everyone else who we had capstone with could tell us stories about, but this is my question for you. So what was it like to make your capstone project during the pandemic?
Hell on earth. It was so hard. We had to like have realistic ideas because when we were brainstorming for what the film was even going to be about, we were like, how can we do this and film it safely and within restrictions and, funding, like money was tight, even tighter than usual. I just felt like we had to really like be realistic. We wanted to like go crazy and go out of the box and do whatever we could, but we really had to like, bring ourselves back down to earth a little. But still a crazy idea, but we had some crazy original ideas, I'd say.
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember that we were in this creepy like basement and yeah, everybody's just wearing masks and you're down there all day and it's just like hot and whatever. And you just like want to make sure everybody's being safe. So that was a little bit grueling. And yeah, just like all of the logistics of it, just like making sure our talent and everybody like had their own bedroom and trying to get everyone their own bathroom to be safe. And yeah, making sure that meals are like packaged individually, trying to be safe with that. But yeah, it was definitely interesting and it was definitely a learning curve, but I feel like if we can do that, we can do anything.
Absolutely. I think that well not only were we worried about safety, but also the fact that it was how it pretty much took us the whole school year to make it. I think one of the biggest concerns that a lot of us had would have to be the weather, probably, especially because it was snowing out a long portion. And I think some of us were wondering, oh man, are we going to have to write snow into this project or anything like that? And I also remember all the crunch time that we had to deal with during our last semester as well.
Yeah, because of COVID, we started a month later than usual for school. And then we ended, obviously, like at the end of May instead of the beginning of May. So we were like, oh no. And I think Ted wanted us to have the film done like a month ahead of time.
Yes.
And
Yep.
then he was like, oh, you guys literally can't do that. Like, there's no way you guys can finish. And I mean, we took up until like the day that the screening was happening for the film festival to have ours done, at least viewable. It was definitely fine, we could have left it where it was, but we had still like shown it and then edited it over the summer. Like, so yeah, there was definitely, yeah, that time crunch was really difficult.
Absolutely. And I do think that part of it, well, you know what? It was a lot, but it was also good like preparation, I think, in that way as well for what's to come, right? All right, well, let me get on to the next question. So for you guys, just after graduating college, were you sad that the experience was over, or were you like kind of happy to move on with the next chapter of your lives in a lot of ways? Also, do you still keep in touch with anyone from college?
Yeah, I was definitely sad to be leaving because I felt like we had all made like a really like nice tight knit community. And I also feel like just like that last year was like the year that like everybody was getting like really close to each other. And so just kind of having to like leave that, like not have enough time with everybody and just kind of leaving everyone was sad. But yeah, definitely still keep in touch with everybody. Yeah, me and Cassidy and Chloe and Felicity and our main actress and our capstone, Katie, we like all hang out all the time still. And I feel like that was like the biggest thing to come out of Blood Ties was meeting Katie. I feel like sometimes I think about it, it's kind of crazy that we just picked her up off of backstage and now she's like our best friend and we go up to her lake house all the time and we just hang out with her all the time. It's like kind of a crazy thought. But yeah, I was really excited after college just to like get into the industry because I feel like college is great, but I feel like if you're not in it, like if you're not actively working on set, it's just like you just like really don't, I don't know, I feel like you just really don't know what you're getting into unless like you step on a set, like an actual set, and you're like thrown right into it because it's so different being on student sets and being on like a real set with like seasoned working professionals, and like there's just such like a structure and an order of like how you do things on set and like set etiquette. And yeah, so I was just like super excited to like get out there and start doing it and then meeting people and then just bringing like, now I've like DP'd some stuff and just like being able to like pull people from Keene State that like I know and I love and like get them onto like the same set so we can just like hang out and make a movie. It's just like super fun and super exciting. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I was happy to be done doing schoolwork just because
Yeah, very much.
I like took a bunch of summer classes just because I was trying to. I graduated. I was supposed to graduate the same year as Hunter and Cade, but obviously I had to do an extra year because of the whole business degree thing. But I had to do a bunch of summer classes, so I really never had a summer off. So it was like I was just so ready to not do any schoolwork for some time. And now it's been a year without schoolwork. It's like so great. But yeah, I think I definitely wish that I maybe had taken advantage of certain things more. I think that's something me and the girls would always talk about during our last year together at Keene State, because obviously they left before me. Was that last year was, yeah, we all got super close, but we didn't have a lot of time to hang out and do stuff outside of the coursework. Like the capstone took up a lot of our lives, and it would have been nice to enjoy our, senior year together more, or do things with the capstone groups outside of, working on our projects separately. It would have been nice to all like, do more fun things together and celebrate a little bit more, I think. But we were all just so like tied up with what we had going on, and then other classes that were really hard because it was once again our last year. Yeah, I think it would have been nice to have more time together. So sometimes, yeah, I miss that community, but I mean, like Hunter said, like there's always room to in the future end up working on something together. So it's always good to have that, thought, and then hopefully someday reality.
I think Felicity just kind of answered my next question a little bit. I was going to ask you guys, so for you personally, looking back at, was there anything that you felt you missed out on at college as both a student and as a filmmaker that maybe you wish you could go back and, explore again, or maybe anything that you wish you could do differently in that way?
I feel like this is a big question, and I feel like there are so many things that come to my brain. Like overall, I like do really like the Keene State film production program, but I just feel like I just like didn't know it in the moment, but now like when I'm like out in the world and like freelancing and like working on other stuff, it just gives me like a different perspective of like what I did miss out on. And I just wish that, yeah, like I know that we should have like done internships and like done those, like tried to get those things on our own. But I feel like it's like, where do you start and like what are the resources and like how do I even do that? So, yeah, I feel like nobody was really pushing for us to gain experience on real sets. And then also just going back to Capstone, and it's like I wish that we had done something similar to a Capstone, not on the same level, but maybe even like even a 5-minute short to make like a really good 5-minute short. I feel like, yeah, you do need a month or two. Like you do need X amount of time to be able to to make it something good. So yeah, I feel like it would have been cool to do something like that just on like a smaller scale that prepared us for like how big Capstone was, and just like understanding, like, okay, you have to feed people on set, like you need to have crafty, like you can't go over like 12 hours a day, like people need to sleep. And I just feel like just doing blood ties, like nobody knew that, okay, 12 hours is like, I mean 10 hours really, like realistically, like 10 hours you should be making that 10-hour day. But I mean, you can go 12 hours, but anything after that, it's like, okay, people have a life, people need to sleep, like don't overwork yourself. Just add more days. And yeah, so that's how I feel about that. And then Felicity, yeah, if you wanna take over, and then maybe something else will pop up in my brain.
Well, I was gonna say to you, speaking of your like, because we both said the whole thing like internships and how we kind of wish we had done that to give us something, make it easier for us when we left college. Maybe you could share like how once you were out of college you got your first initial jobs, because then maybe it would be good for other people to know, like, because I feel like once you're, working it, it's like, oh, I could have done this in the beginning, like, and since I haven't been able to work on a set yet, I feel like it would be good because you have that knowledge right now.
Mhm. Yeah, so I just joined a bunch of Facebook pages in the area, and I would literally respond to like everything that I saw for specifically for like PA gigs, because I was like, "Oh my God, I don't know anything. I don't know how a set runs. Like I just want to get there and like observe and like learn." So yeah, I feel like for maybe like 3 or 4 months I was just like PAing, and just like trying my best to get on set. But the thing that I will say is that once you get on one set and you make connections, like people will just like the ball will start rolling. Like you really just have to like bite the bullet and get on that first set, and try to meet at least one person. And I was like super nervous getting on set for the first time. I think like the first 3 or 4 gigs that I had were just like 1 or 2 day shoots. And I just remember being so nervous that like I didn't talk to anybody. And I was like so scared to do anything and whatever. But now every time I go on a set, you just like have to have the mindset of like, we're all here doing the same thing. We're all trying to make something. And I just always go into set just thinking like, okay, I'm already friends with all of these people. I act like I already know all these people. I'm already friends with all these people. And if you do that, then it just makes it so much easier, and like you're not nervous anymore, and it just makes those like awkward small talks easier, if you already think that you're friends, even if you don't know those people. So yeah, I feel like that's what I would say to anybody in school right now. If they want to get on set, I would just join Facebook pages, because there's like a ton of jobs that are just like 1 or 2 days, and it's really not that much out of your time, and like it will just give you like a whole new perspective for your work at school. Because I feel like something that sorry, I'm like going on forever, but something that I wish that I had right now is I wish I had those resources to the equipment room. Like I wish I had the equipment and the cage right now, because I'm like, oh my God, like I want to make all these things, but I just like don't have equipment. I just like, and then renting can be like kind of expensive. And so now for me to make a film that I want to make with all like the rental stuff and like feeding people and whatever, it's like $15,000 like just to make a short with no resources at all. So take advantage of the equipment, like please. You miss it so much when you're gone. But yeah.
So true. Yeah, so true. Like it blows my mind sometimes, like the budget for things. Because then I think about like the budget for our film, and I'm like, how did we do that with that budget? Like less than 10 grand. How did we do that?
Crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Equipment is so expensive. And I'm like just starting to now like invest in like camera gear and just like well, actually, not even, sorry, I'm like digressing, but not even camera gear. I'm just like investing in my AC equipment, and just like my AC kit, and just like buying Pelican cases are like so expensive. Like buying these little niche things that you need to have on set before you can even like buy that like camera that you want or like get those lenses that you want. It just all adds up. And yeah, you don't think about it until everything is gone.
But it pays off later on.
That was very long-winded, I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Thank you for going into that. That was really awesome, Hunter. Good job. um, but for you too, personally, just looking back at Keene State College and just what the experience was, just what were some of your fondest memories? It might not just be a project; it could just also be the friends you made, and also just an experience that you had on campus. Just anything, you know. What were some of your fondest memories overall?
I just miss like, yeah, probably like the biggest things are like anything outside of class. Like I just really liked hanging out with people and being in that time of my life. And people are always like, "Oh, appreciate this time of your life. Like later on, you'll wish you did this." And in that moment, you're just like, "No, I know. Like I know I'm trying to appreciate it. I'm trying to do the things you want me to do and whatnot." But yeah, no matter what, you're always gonna have that feeling. I don't think anybody can look back and just be like, I mean, I'm happy, with like the, previous and whatnot, but yeah, I just think you're always gonna look back no matter what. And you just enjoy like what you did and you had fun. But yeah, I think there was just so many things. We would go around town. We'd do some of the same things we did back then now. It's just there's no class involved. But then there's also like really good aspects like, making films together and just all the people that I still get to talk to are people that I enjoy. So I'm glad that that's the case. But yeah, I feel like a lot gained, nothing lost, just a lot of money, but well,
Oh god. Um, it actually popped up on my Snapchat memories like the other day, but after yeah, I feel like all of my like best memories just come from blood ties, and I'm sorry. It just does because I feel like that was like where I got really close to everybody. But yeah, on my Snapchat memories it popped up. I think it was after our no, it wasn't after graduation. It was after we were done filming, I think. And we were all just like hanging out at Chloe's house and we were all just like celebrating being done with the film, and I'm just like looking back at all of the videos and I'm just like, "Oh my god." I just that night specifically, I feel like there was like 3 of those nights, but that night specifically, I'm just like, that was such a good night. Just like being able to be with everybody and celebrating like this big accomplishment that we had. Yeah, I don't know. That was a good night.
Yeah, I think that just to get into what I remember, so I think some of my fondest memories were probably, some of the classes we took and also like I did enjoy Capstone, but I also really loved our collaborative film production class because I think that class was a little bit less, hectic than Capstone because of the pandemic was happening at that time. But I did love collaborative because that's when I think we all really did get to start to work together the most and when we all collaborate more because, collaborative film. But one of the things that I also remember was the screening for our capstone projects. That was definitely something I'll always remember because I was utterly terrified that a whole bunch of people were going to see my project, but I was also nervous because I got to see all this other work that we had been doing all year. And yeah, I loved everybody's film, and that was definitely a good memory. And I remember doing the Q&A after each project and being scared by that, which I don't know. Do you guys remember doing the Q&A? Were you excited about that, or was that something nerve-wracking?
dreading it. Dreaded
Terrified.
it.
Yeah.
It was scary. Yeah, because you're just like, because you already know what's wrong with it. So first off, you don't want to hear the obvious things because it's like, I know I need to do those things. Like, tell me the things because you just want to go ahead and be like, all right, I know I need to do this, this, and this. Can you tell me, like, what needs to be done? And then like the things that I'm not thinking about. But yeah, I think that's what was like scary is just you didn't know what anybody was saying. But everybody was so nice. So it was like no one's gonna give you like say something mean, everything was like positive, like tried to be said in a positive way. But then it's also like kind of what Hunter said earlier. It's like you like not tell me like the truth. Like give me the raw, gritty truth. Let me know what I need. But it was just good because you could like just I felt like everybody was relatively honest with each other and we just got to like be raw with each other, you know? Like you just have to be open. Like it's just like here it is, you know, tell me what you think because like I can't hide. I have to share it. But it
Absolutely.
was scary.
Yeah, it was. And I think aside from that, just another memory, like one of the biggest memories I have, it's not super fun because it was a sad day and it was also kind of tough, but and Felicity, you weren't there, but Hunter was. What I remember, what I'll always remember was graduation day because all I remember from that day was feeling so sad about saying goodbye to everyone and sad about moving on. But I also remember just how muggy it was because it was raining. It was pouring rain all day, and we had to walk through campus and upstage, and it was just raining all the time. And they gave us all those raincoats and everything like that. So that's definitely a memory. And it's not like the best memory because it's also sad, but that's something that I'll always remember when I think back to Keen. I don't know if you feel the same way or not.
Yeah, no, that was a really sad day. I like cried a little bit in my car, but I feel like I always cry a little bit because even after high school graduation, I was like sobbing in my car by myself. So, but yeah, no, that was really sad. It was like a bittersweet, I feel like is the word. It was bittersweet. But yeah, I feel like we all one year all have to like get together and like go to one of the capstone screenings. We can all just like be in a row and be like, "Hey."
I agree. We wanted to go this year, but the schedule just didn't work out. But yeah, maybe next year.
So yeah, why don't we get into our last question now? So for you guys as filmmakers and as former students at Keene State College, is there any advice that you would want to give to any aspiring filmmakers at Keene or just anyone who plans to study film in the future?
You want to go first, Hunter? Or?
You can go first.
Okay. I was just gonna say, definitely make connections while you're at college. It's probably, I mean, that's what we heard a lot when we were there, is make connections. So I definitely think that that helps in the end because like Hunter said, like she went on Facebook groups and like just kind of put herself out there on there and obviously like knowing people like helps as well. So I think that that's definitely good is like really just try to be personable, meet people, work on sets, definitely work on sets outside of class. Like go out of your way to do that because you really should know kind of what you're getting into in the real world instead of the bubble that is your classroom. And yeah, like work on them early, like freshman, sophomore year, because like there are people that are just working on sets like at 18 years old. So it's like you don't have to go to college for this, but if you are, it's like might as well just like go do what other people are doing when you have the free time. I know it's hard to like do that while you're in school or working because that was my excuse, but yeah, I don't know. It just gives you real life experience and I wish also like I guess I would say like enjoy it a little bit more. Like don't just make something to get a grade because I felt like I did that a lot. And it was because I was a procrastinator. So I would say like you enjoy it. You're there because you enjoy it. So take the time to really work on it and create something that you like or just something that you can like learn from and enjoy the experience because yeah, I definitely wish I had done that a few more times instead of just trying to get something out there so that I could have it ready for a grade and pass. But yeah, that's really it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like I also know some people that not that went to Keene State, but some people that like graduated school and then they like were on like a big like tier 1 film and they were like, "Oh my God, like this is like what I'm getting myself into." And it's like, yeah, like I mean, this is just like how it is. This is what it is. Like we do long days and it's like physical labor but we're all there because like we just love making movies. But yeah, it's like a lot of like physical labor and long days and whatever. So just knowing that ahead of time, especially like freshman or sophomore year, so like you can have a plan if you like want to switch your major or whatever, I feel like would be very eye-opening instead of like realizing it once you get your degree. But what I would say, like in school, kind of like what Fee said, like just like really take advantage of like joining Facebook groups. And I would say when you're in school, I feel like it would also be really beneficial to like reach out to local alumni that are like actively working in the industry, because like if anybody is going to take care of you, it's like the alumni that went to the same school as you, because they just like can relate to like your experiences and like the professors and whatever. So I think that would be beneficial. And then, yeah, I would also just say like really take advantage of the equipment that like you have access to. I feel like now I regret like not taking equipment out. Just like I guess just like not trying harder, kind of like what Fee said, just like making a project to like get it done and get a grade, and not trying harder and being more creative with like lighting and like taking out like a black magic or like doing all this stuff that now looking back I'm like, damn, I would have, if I was in college right now, like knowing what I know now, I would have done that. But yeah, just like take advantage of the resources that you have. And even if you don't have a lot of resources, like there's definitely something that you can get your hands on and do. So
Well, thank you guys so much. This was such a great interview. Is there anything you guys want to say before we wrap up?
Thanks for having us, Kate. We
yeah.
had a great time. It was a good conversation. I
Yeah.
feel like we talked about a lot that I didn't think we'd get to, so I had a fun time. Definitely, you ask anybody else, they should say yes, and we should do this more often.
I do this more often. Yeah, no, just like thank you so much for having us and just like thinking about these things that I've not thought about in a while. I feel like it was a good combo.
Yeah, it was nice to think about these things. Yeah, because there's things that came up that I haven't thought about in a long time, and I don't want to forget those memories. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why I wanted to do this interview, and I hope we can do this again sometime.
yeah, we
Yeah,
definitely should.
let's get all the capstone people back. Let's do a big reunion
That would be awesome. Yeah.
on the next one.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's where we're going to end this interview, guys. Thanks so much for listening. We have more to come. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you later. Thanks. Bye.